Welcome back. If you joined us for part one, I'm so glad you're here for part two. And if you're just jumping in, you may want to go back and start there. Either way, let's dive in. You've said something really interesting that one of the simplest ways to improve longevity is fiber. And I am so interested in this. Like, obviously, we all know we need fiber to be regular. Nobody cares until they hit 40, probably, because, everybody cares. Once you hit 40, you start caring about all this stuff. But why is something so simple so powerful? And what else can people do to extend their health?
Yeah, I think so. Uh, we as a society are focused on protein, 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 protein. When all of us are meeting, if you are in a city, if you are watching this and you have a phone, if you have a computer, I'm pretty sure you have access to the food that is providing you all of those macros, right? Carbs, fats, and protein into a normal level. What Americans are deficient of is fiber. We're very, very severely deficient on fiber. But let's define what is fiber. It
Right.
is not what a powder supplement is. Fiber is the insoluble part of plants. And when I say plants, is vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, roots, whole grains. So it's what we don't eat. And at the beginning, we thought, really, it's like, why do we even need it if all we're doing is pooping? And so at the beginning, it was like, well, it's helping to create the poop for it to be healthy and you can pass it through the whole digestive system. We have a very long digestive system. So that's what we thought it was. But it was not until very recently that we really discovered what fiber is. And fiber feeds the trillions of microbiota that lives in our gut. And fiber needs to be very diverse. It cannot come only from one thing. So if you're eating lettuce and tomato every day, you're saying, oh, I'm eating a lot of lettuce and tomato, so I have a lot of fiber. So our microbiota, those trillions of virus, bacteria, protozoas, so many different little bugs that exist in our body, need to eat from the fiber. The most diverse fiber and the most amount of fiber will make them healthy and grow the anti-inflammatory microbiota. And if you're feeding them a American standard diet, which is mac and cheese, pizza, French fries, milkshakes, that will grow your pro-inflammatory microbiota. So you want to feed the good guys because they will start growing. And then what do they do? What does microbiome do for us? They make our hormones. They make our uh, like even they even do serotonin. They make and I want to put it in the simplest words, right? The things
Yes,
that
please.
our brain that our brain needs to
Yes.
work and and our neurons need to communicate with each other are like these small things
Mm-hmm.
is what our microbiota is doing. They are producing enzymes, they're producing peptides, they're producing vitamins. Like they if they are healthy, we are healthy. We
Mm.
have more of them than cells of us in our body. Like let
Wow.
that sink in.
Yeah.
We are not made out of our cells. So our cells have our DNA from mom and dad, right? And we have that amount, but we have three times these bugs or this microbiota that exists in us. And it's in the gut, it's in the skin, it's in the mucosas. They are everywhere and they are living symbiotically with us. They are living really, really, they are making us this healthy. So every time that you're going to eat, forget about feeding yourself. You got to start thinking on feeding them because they're the ones keeping you healthy. And you want to
Interesting.
feed the ones that are anti inflammatory, the ones that don't produce inflammation. Let's use even simpler words, right? We
Mm-hmm.
don't want the ones that are producing inflammation. We
Mm-hmm.
want the ones that are fighting inflammation for us. So
So
that is why.
So if we are if we're Joe Blow and we're eating our regular diet and they're saying, oh well, they're listening to this right now and they're saying, I have my Metamucil every morning and I am just cranking in the fiber through my Metamucil. What would you say to that? What would you recommend to those listening that they could easily fold into their diet sans Metamucil? And let's just even take nuts and seeds out of it because a lot of people have allergies. So let's say they're somebody that has allergies to nuts or seeds. And what else can they have that's fibrous that would be something that would be feeding those good little bugs in them?
And I love this question, Carrie, because a lot of people make this very complicated. And this is the simplest answer. There's 800,000 edible plants out there. When I say plants, it's like fruits, vegetables, whole grains. Some nuts and seeds, I agree, they are reactions, but there's people that have reactions to fruits as well and to vegetables as well. So it's either 800,000 edible plants or four animals: the pork, the cow, the fish,
Hmm.
like, why are we getting so complicated in this? Like, it's not too difficult. The easiest way for you to incorporate and ditch whatever you think you're taking in fiber on a supplement with
Right.
fiber is, and I say this so many times, but how many colors of the rainbow did you eat today, Carrie?
That's a great way to think of it.
How many did you have today?
I had zero today. I've had coffee today. This is no
Guys,
lie. I
we're
I I
we're
am
recording at 2 p.m.
but I'm
on
I'm not
Eastern.
in I'm not on the East Coast, so it's earlier here for me
Oh,
than you.
okay.
So, but
Okay.
I am definitely one of those eaters that I do typically mix up what I'm eating fairly well, but I am not a morning eater. I don't like to eat in the morning. I'm not hungry in the
Which is
morning.
okay.
I have my coffee and I get going, and then about lunchtime, I probably will start eating at about lunchtime. But if I
But
had
when,
eaten
when
this
you
morning, I
step
probably would have had
into,
eggs.
there's no colors there, right? So what are you going to do through your snack? If you do the snack, lunch, at snack for in between, dinner. So try to incorporate all the colors of the rainbow. Is the easiest way for you to remember as moms that have little kids, as women that are trying to thrive through life, right? Because you want the hacking things. Count the colors. The more
I
diversity you eat, the better it is for your good microbiome.
I love that because that's such an easy thing for kids or adults to remember. Like I'm like while you're talking, I'm thinking, well, if I had eaten something yet, what would I have? Or when we get done, what will I eat? I'm thinking I eat cottage cheese, I eat Greek yogurt with granola, I eat meat. I'm like, I might have a salad. Like, but sometimes we make things so complicated. Like, oh gosh, I need to have Metamucil. I need to add that in or whatever. It's like, no, not really. You just need to
Not
put some
really.
color on your plate.
You
Like
need real
that's a
food.
super easy way that anybody can add more fiber immediately.
Yeah. And people there's so much misinformation right now in the internet, that they're like, oh, you can't eat fruits or vegetables because they have carbs. So it's like, let me just make sure that we clarify this. Complex carbohydrates compact with fiber, but they also compact with vitamins and minerals and oligo elements and all of the things and polyphenols. All of these are very, very healthy for you. All of this scientifically backed that will make you live longer. So you said egg whites, cottage cheese, meat, and if we're lucky, you had a salad, right? But if that salad was lettuce and tomato, we are failing on really bringing a lot more diversity. So when you go do grocery shopping, and sometimes we're so busy that we are eating out breakfast lunch and dinner, right? But we can shop for our snacks in between, or when we're at the restaurant, which is the one that has the most amount of vegetables and produce. We've also learned scientifically that if you cannot access for organic, still not eating is worse than eating the healthy things. So eat the healthy things. Eat as much and as many as you can access, because at the end of the day they come packed with antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, oligo elements, and you want that. You want those eating by chewing them, not by putting in a powder that's dry, that's lyophilized, like that you are just going to reconstitute. That is not nutrition. So let's go back to basics that don't cost anything. And that is the biggest biohacking or longevity trick.
I mean, again, I just think that I love the simplicity of color. We don't, we get so, into our
Yeah.
habits, and oh, I need this much protein, oh, I need this much fiber, oh, I need it's like, we just put color on your plate. Like, that's a
Yeah.
great easy way to do it. Like, oh, you had some blueberries, oh, you had some broccoli, oh, you had some, like, just thinking of it
Yellow
like that way is
peppers,
so easy.
radishes. When was the last time you grabbed a weird thing, a weird from your, go grab those and like alternate the weird things. Like that is something that we can exercise that next time we all go to the grocery store.
You've said that failure is actually one of our greatest superpowers, even though it doesn't feel like it when we're in the middle of that. So, how has failure shaped your journey, and how do you personally reframe it? Can you share something, that time where something didn't work, and how that experience changed you?
Absolutely. Yeah, I say my motto, I live and I keep pushing every single day to expand the this society has taught us that failure is bad, when failure is what actually makes us the greatest.
Well, it's the only way
And
we learn. When everything's going your way, you're just coasting. It feels good. You're like, this is fabulous. But when you're failing, that's when we're really in the deep depths of learning, right? And we all
you
want to
would
learn.
never be you would never be able to adapt and change the things to really make you successful if you don't fail, right?
Right.
And it sucks. I am with you. It's gutting. The feeling of it is gutting, especially for the type A females out there, or any type A for that matter. But really, as a scientist, I see this so often. Like, we have to try our experiment so many times because it would have worked at the first time. It never does. But like most of the biggest discoveries have been made because something failed and you had to rethink A, B, C scenarios, and you had to bring in that creativity, that new and then you're like, whoa, look at shit that I did, right?
Hmm.
But it is failure that allows us to get there, to allows us to get bigger and greater. We were just sitting with Michelle Romanov, which is Canada's Shark Tank, which is called Dragon's Den, and she was speaking about failure, and she said, for me to be able to succeed in two or three companies, we had to fail on 10, and big time failure. Like we put a lot of money, a lot of infrastructure, a lot of people through it, and they failed. And we had a great idea. And some of those ideas, 10 years from whenever they launched, became a big thing. Like Uber Eats, for example. She said that they launched something like that. And it was not at their time. It was not ready. Like society was not ready for that. And they
Yeah.
failed big time. And that's what she was like. So I think it is a common denominator from a lot of entrepreneurs, that we failed a lot of things.
Hmm.
And probably, are we not saying it out loud? And I want to be the loud voice about this.
Well,
Um,
I think so many times we see somebody have success, And we see the success, but we don't see the 15 failures that came before that, of things that didn't work, of things that we were sure we were right on things that we really put our heart and soul and mind into. And they see it's just like when you hear somebody say overnight success. I don't really think most circumstances, it regardless of what industry, regardless, most of the time, let's say maybe outside of sans 1%, it's not an overnight success. That's the success that you see, versus what everybody has gone through, the failures over and over to get there, and to learn what doesn't work and learn how to do it better until you have the like magical winning equation.
Yeah, failure is a superpower. Um, I I was having dinner with a friend 2 days ago, and she said there was this father that asked their daughter every single day, "So what did you fail today?" And he would celebrate that. And I was
Oh,
like, "Whoa, that is a
mind
progressive
blower.
father. I I need to start doing that with my daughter."
Is there ever I mean, obviously we've both had a lot of failures. So is there one or two failures in your life that really stand out to you, that really taught you that lesson, where it wasn't just like the disappointment of the failure? Because sometimes we can get a little bit overwhelmed by the failure, and like, especially when it's something we were really believed in or really wanted to succeed with. So is there any like any of your failures that like really stand out, that you're like, you know what, it was a huge failure, but it taught me so much, or it really helped me get to a different place of where I was going?
Whoa, I can think about so many. And I would say the way that I do business right now and for the rest of my life, it got impacted extremely. I will. I am betting everybody that is surrounding me and the way that I want to do business right now is thanks to what I learned, and I really failed on those red flags that I did not see from the people that were getting around me. So that is a big one. That is like no, I don't want to say I was not naive, but I trust it a lot. And today is like, if you want to get in that circle, it's like, you're really going to be better. I really need to understand who you are, and the reason why I am preferring to do business and be surrounded by powerful women.
Yeah, and I can appreciate that, obviously, in the INTS universe. But I think you're so right. I think, just when I look back at my life, thinking of people that you trusted or that you put your faith into, that you figure out much later down the road, like, wow, they really actually, I had their back, but they didn't really have mine. And they never did. And I just didn't see it. I think that happens to everybody, or I mean, I'm assuming it definitely happened to me. So I really relate to that, you saying that, because it's so disappointing. And it's also like, especially if you consider yourself, which I do, like pretty good at reading people and pretty good about kind of, you know,
Assessing.
feeling my way out with
Yeah.
people's energy and with their intentions. Like, for the most part, I feel like I do a good job most of the time, but there have definitely been people that I put my heart and soul into, that it was just like, wow, that was a terrible decision on my part. And so I think that's a really good, I think that's a really good, uh, for you, self-realization as a failure, because how powerful is that to teach us, when we make that, when we learn that, that then we can then move forward in our lives and hopefully avoid those kind of people or those kind of experiences again, which are very hard, like in business or personal. That's just a really hard pill to swallow.
Or
Pun
personal.
intended.
Correct. Yeah, and I know you were looking more for like the business side, but I think securing the team and knowing who you're doing business with is it can be a big failure.
When you were building your career and your companies early on, how did you hold on to belief in yourself when there wasn't really a clear path or many people who looked like you that were doing the same thing? Like you mentioned earlier, a bunch of white men, like, right? You're surrounded by all these white guys. So when there, how did you hold on? How did you hold on to that belief in yourself?
I think I'm so delusional.
Delulu is the
Capacity.
Salulu. It's my slogan all year long.
I believe in myself so much. I don't know if it's my personality or again the way that I was raised or the support system that I have around me. Um, I just know that what I'm doing is what I need to be doing, and I go all in. There's not an inch of me that is not fully in any of the projects that I do. When I have faith in the project, the people, or the outcome, it's like all in, and we're going to go further than the moon. Now that we'll probably touch Mars, scientifically speaking. So, yeah, but it's very interesting. I've never had mentors that look like me, that talk like me, that act like me. And I had to be my own mentor, right? Until a point where I was like, whoa, wait, I should be doing this towards my community, and how do I start mentoring people? I want to I want to be the person that they say, oh, I remember this Latina, this woman of color, this girl, this and apparently also pretty, and apparently also young looking. It's like I'm doing something right
Yes, you're
because
very
I'm in
beautiful.
the
100% I can confirm. And you look very, very, very young. Yes. So I can
you
confirm
too.
as an objective outside source. This is accurate.
Those things that you're like, it shouldn't matter, but when you're doing business they do matter because
It
they
does.
become a negative instead of being positive. It's like women are so objectified and so sexualized up to the point where you step into a very important meaning. And when
Hmm.
you step into that very important meeting, it's like, are you the secretary? Like, why are you the only woman in this?
Right.
It's like,
You're like, move aside,
yeah,
gentlemen. I'm a doctor.
watch me. And not
You know,
just a doctor. It's like, okay, who's ready to go head by head with my brain? And that is my biggest asset, you know? It's like, I did not know how intelligent I was until I always end up being one of the most intelligent people in the room. And it's funny to me. Like I'm not never like I'm still so humble about that because I continue to learn. I continue to know that I don't know everything, and bringing that into a room of old white males that think that they know everything. And when they bring their scientists, and you're like, oh, really? Let's go at it. And you're
watch out,
still,
guys.
you still
you
come
know,
out as the smarter, it's like,
it's so interesting coming hearing your perspective of sitting at that table and walking into that kind of environment. And as someone that worked in male dominated industries for over 20 years, tech and construction. I very much relate to it 100%. And I think I was just talking about this the other day. I think the biggest thing that women, and maybe this has shaped part of your career, that women can learn from men, especially those of us that have worked in male dominated industries, is just their straight up audacity. I mean, I have been telling every woman I can get in front of, I'm like, ladies, we need to live in the full audacity of these men because,
can
whether
I add
that's
something to that?
whether it's personal or business,
Mediocre.
they have, ain't no problem. Ain't no problem with that audacity there. And we, as women, we're always so concerned with people's feelings or how it comes across and part of that is, um, part of that is just us, how society is, how we're raised, etc. But like we need to be fully living in our full audacity. Like that is definitely something that
I
women can
love
take
that.
from men for sure.
Pray, Carrie, because I always say that. I also always say that because it's like, can you, to my girlfriends, right? Like, because they're like thinking, what am I going to do? What is my husband going to think? I'm like, can you imagine you're a guy.
They aren't thinking that. They aren't thinking that ever.
Ever, ever. Can we all just start thinking as average, mediocre males? Just shoot from there.
Right,
And you're still going to be
exactly.
higher. So, like we got to believe in ourselves a little bit more. We are our biggest we are what is holding us back to thrive.
100%. 100%. You've not only worked in science, but you've obviously built businesses around that science. So, what do you think is different about being an entrepreneur in the scientific and medical community in space compared to other industries?
I think being an entrepreneur and being a business owner and moving that field is, I think we all speak the same language. We all have the same hardship. How do you source this? How do you manage, HR, accounting? I think we all are putting fires regardless. That's what a entrepreneur is like. Just how many fires did you put out today, right? The beauty on my field, and I am a proud nerd, the biggest of them all. Um, for me, being an MD, PhD, OMD, doing business is like I get to bring that perspective also into the business, right? It's things that a lot of the business people, men and women, are not thinking because they are thinking about just business. And I am already thinking about like the science or medical spin off of the business that can be very special to all of us. Women, as we thrive on our vision and our mission, our community. What is it? How are we going to impact the community? And not only am I making that much money, right? That's why I love to be surrounded by women because we really put our projects with our community center and foremost. How are we impacting human lives? So that is how I see the difference. The difference is really bringing my expertise into the field where not a lot of doctors are going out and using their expertise into the business side, and I think we need more.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to make sure that we leave space for what you're doing right now, what you're most focused on. How can people follow your work? How can they connect with you? Give us all the things. And by the way, for the listeners, you don't have to madly write this down. This will all of Dr. Mari's information and contact and everything she's talking about will be in the show notes. So you can find that in the show notes. But tell us all about all the things. Where do we find you? How do we connect with you? How do we obsess with Dr. Mari?
You're the best. My website is where you'll find everything that I'm doing lately, and like, so it's drdr-mari.com. And I'm very active into social medias and Instagram specifically and LinkedIn. So let's connect, please. Let's connect. You never know, please do slide through my DMs. I love that. I love to connect with women and others that are aligned in my vision. Love to advocate. I'm here for the greater good of things. So the projects that I'm building now, after taking a time off, which is funny that I'm saying it's a time off. I didn't. I did write a patent through this time off. I did build the most amount of connections that I've built in my.
Perhaps not so much time off. I don't know if I can send you the definition of time off if you need it after this call, but it sounds like you were
my
rather
brain
busy.
doesn't. My brain doesn't stop. So, but that was like a time off from a specific business where I was attached to a business, right? It
Hmm.
was like a solo growing, grinding, and redefining myself. Beautiful time of my life, this midlife transition of knowing who I am, my power, and being optimized by my physicians, because we don't need to. We gotta prevent osteoporosis, right? gotta eat the fiber, the protein, and start strength training. I gotta throw these things, ladies, because we
Yes.
undereat and we are doing cardio when we need to do strength training. So all of these
The heavy
things
weights and the like, tell us all the things. How do we prevent osteoporosis? I have so many questions.
now. Yes, now is when we prevent osteoporosis. Get a DEXA scan. We are in osteoporosis prevention awareness month. So let's do this. Get a DEXA scan. DEXA scans are not covered by insurance, but get it now at whatever age you are. You don't need to be 65 and over to get one. So we can know what is the bone density, your muscle density, and your fat inside of the we call it visceral fat, the fat that will be dangerous, right? Not your little rolls that are folding here and there, right? Those things can actually give us so much insight because you don't need to break a bone for us to know that you were in osteopenia and then osteoporosis and you're about to get fractures, right? Please, women, we gotta start eating better.
Is there
Hygiene better.
something that people can be that, I mean, we're kind of going down the rabbit hole here, but is there something for like women that have maybe are older and maybe have the beginnings of osteoporosis? Is there something that they can change in their diet that really helps that?
Yeah, more than diet only. And let me throw here one of my physician friends, Dr. Vonda Wright. Her book is called Unbreakable. And this is not for old women. I have many friends in their 30s that have been diagnosed with osteoporosis. So I don't think a 30-year-old is considered an old woman.
No.
And but you gotta get into this. So in Dr. Vonda Wright's book, she really details what are the things that you should be proactively doing. Some of those things are if we just do 10 jumps in the morning and at night.
Wow.
Jumps, people, like, can you do 10 jumps? Like, we should be doing 10 jumps right now as we are
Yes.
talking, just to demonstrate how fast and how effective it can be. Because when we put that pressure bone to bone analyze that and go like, oh, I should be stronger, I should build a little bit more. So if we get into this routine, and they're beautiful, simple, beautiful exercise, also in Audible for the ones that don't want to read it, lifestyle implementations that we can do to get better at any age. Again,
Wow.
30
I'm
year
I'm
olds should start getting a DEXA scan.
I'm definitely going to put the Unbreakable fund right in the show notes also. So if you don't have a pen, you don't have to be writing it down because that's great advice. I think sometimes we don't know even what to do or where to go, and we think it has to be all this complicated stuff. And it's like you told us to do 10 jumps. Like what the hell? Like that's we can do that. We can do that.
It's free, it's simple, and it can be integrated when you're brushing your teeth. Okay, do 10. Okay, when you're in a cold, just do 10. You did it twice a day.
Right.
Great. You are doing way better than any other person out there. And like that, I mean, I don't want to hog around this, but if you get a DEXA scan, we can know where you are and what we can adjust for specifically for every single one of you, and we don't have to wait for you to get fractured, because those are the things. Women live longer, but the quality of life can be impacted very, very bad very soon if you are not caring about those things. In the generation where we were born and older, we were taught to undereat.
Hmm. Undereat and
And
do too much cardio. We thought, oh, we got to do all this cardio. And it's like, as we get older, we actually need to do weights. Weights are what our bone needs as opposed to the
have to
like
start
crazy hours of cardio.
strength training. I mean, caring about our cardiovascular health is very important. I'm not going to say no, but it looks like everybody is doing that, right? What you're
Right.
not doing, what you're not doing is strength training. We have to be able to carry a certain percentage of weight for a certain percentage of time to know, like your wrist, the amount of power that your wrist can hold. It's very, those are longevity indicators. So check out that book. I think it has a lot of information. I'm working with IBO, WIBO. It's a vest a weighted vest.
Hmm.
Actually, if you buy one, you can get a free DEXA scan. So
I
that
love
is
mine. I'm always walking in it.
YVO Warrior is this company, and she's actually the one example that I'm using. She was in her 30s when she was diagnosed with osteoporosis. She used to be a marathon runner, ultra marathon runner, and that's why she created this company. When you're doing weighted vest walks, do prioritize for a second to stop and jump,
Okay.
because then you have the extra added is not only the walking. It just became viral, let's walk with a vest for
Hmm.
strength training, but do prioritize
Do
on
the
the jumps
jumps.
again, to do the 10,
I'm going to
right?
be,
Bring it
but
to
my
the next
neighbors are going to be
level.
like, what is she doing now? And I'm going to be like, the weighted vest. I'm going to be jumping. I'm going to do all
you're
the
you're
things.
working on your bones.
That's
That's
right.
what you're doing. So why strength training? Because the muscles, if we create very strong muscles, it protects the bones from decaying. And that is like the simplest way to explain it, right?
Yeah.
But we need a better lean mass protects the bones, which you're like, but they're the bones and they're the muscles. Believe me, that's how science goes. That's how biology goes. So
Yeah.
let's start strength training. You don't need very complicated things, but start.
Right. I also think that like people think, when I say cardio, I think people sometimes we think I got to be like a CrossFit maniac. And and it's like, no, you just got to walk, man. It's not that serious. You don't have to be like a CrossFit master in order to be getting in the right cardio. So I think that's the other thing. It's like we
It's
really
strength
need to
training, you
actually
mean?
just relook at how we're looking at all of this stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
you mentioned well, you've mentioned a few things, but you mentioned that you love paddle boarding to me at sunset and even doing yoga on the board. And you already told us you love a good bikini, which I'm so impressed by the yoga on the board. I also know that you said you're a Cancer. I'm a Pisces, so this makes sense why I love you. But what does that time being on the water in that space? What does that do for you mentally and emotionally?
Oh, everything. It recharges my cup. I think we underestimate, us women, overachiever women, type A women, we forget to fill up our cup, and we're giving, 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 and then we burn out, and then we don't know what's going on, right? So finding times throughout either the day or the week to refill the cup is so important. It's more, it might sound cliche, but it's one of the most important things that you can do for yourself, right? And for me, for Mari Mitrani, that what that means is being able to launch my paddleboard into the waterway. I live in South Florida, just beautiful all year round, and I can just have that moment. If it's 20 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour and a half, that I just like go and paddle my way. And I learned to do yoga on the paddleboard. So I use my the board itself as if it was the mat, the yoga mat, and just holding the simplest position, just a a downward dog,
I'm
or
like, are you doing crow on your paddleboard? That's amazing.
I have done crow on my
Or a
paddleboard.
headstand. I am so impressed.
And I
I would be in the
finished my
water.
practice. I finished my practice with a headstand, and falling in the water that is the coolest part of it. It's like
I just went
you don't
paddleboarding this
have to worry
weekend. I
about
did
it.
not do crow or a headstand on the paddleboard. I can tell the listeners that was not me. I was mostly laying on it, doing nothing.
Yeah. And that's another thing. I like, again, I am a water sign, so I thrive in the water, and learning to just let go when you're in the paddle board. You gotta let go, you gotta lose your knees to let go, because the waves are coming at different given times, right? So it's like you cannot be in control. You really have to let go. And for me, those are the very important things. But I meditate, I do breath work, I go to the gym and lift very heavy weight. That is, oh, I am obsessed with that. And what else I do? I sing. I dance. I'm a Latina. I dance. Those are the things that fill up my cup, and it's so important.
Okay, last question. At It's Not That Serious, we have a series called our WHIP series, which stands for Women in Power. But power can mean many things. So when you hear the phrase WHIP or Woman in Power, what does that actually mean to you today?
It means the future of humanity, the future of medicine. For me today, it's the future of healthcare. The future of medicine is women in power.
Oh, I love that, and we're ready for it. We're here for it. I feel like all of the women in the INTS universe, we are ready for that baby. So anyway, thank you so much for being on the show. It's so much fun to hear a female's perspective on medicine, on science, and to hear things that are relating to us. And so just thank you so much for your time and for being here. If you're listening, you can find again all the show notes on where you can find us, whether that's Spotify, whether it's Apple, whether it's iHeartRadio, whether it's YouTube. Find us, listen to us, go to the It's Not That Serious website, grab a shirt, grab a mug, but be good to each other. And thank you, Dr. Mari, for being here today.
No, thank you so much for opening up. And it is not that serious, girls.
It's not that serious. See you next time, guys. That's a wrap on today's episode of Carrie, It's Not That Serious. If this conversation resonated, subscribe and share it with a WHIP, a woman in power in your life. You can find more conversations, more community, and all the fun INTS merch you love at itsnotthatserious.com. We're building something meaningful here, and I'm so glad you're a part of it. Until next time, remember, it's not that serious.